What's going on, Geminites? It's your boy Gem Mint. Welcome back to the channel. We're here to do a non-spoiler review on Fear Agent. Fear Agent is the brainchild of Rick Remender and Tony Moore, and somewhere along the line, Jerome Opeña jumped in. But basically, this book is what if Tony Moore and Rick Remender did a 50s cheesy science fiction pulp comic. Before we jump into the review, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and smash that like. We're going to jump into the review here. Now, Rick Remender, he's well known for writing Uncanny X-Force for Marvel. He's known for writing the Venom, Agent Flash, Agent Venom storyline. And Tony Moore is obviously known from The Walking Dead. So they met at a Comic-Con, they came up with this idea, and they made this book. It was originally published by Image, and then I think about midway through, Dark Horse got the rights. This looks like a lot of material, but actually it's only about 30 issues and some extras at the end of each book. But the page stock is really thick, so it's a little bit daunting. It looks like it's going to be a big read, but the pages are just very large, and we'll take an overhead look at that once we get into it. I mentioned 50s cheesy science fiction pulp, and that's kind of what it starts out as. You have the main character, his name is Heath Houston, and he's kind of like the Doom guy, the Duke Nukem archetype, kind of like the all-American Texan who is here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and he's all out of bubblegum. But what happens here is an alien invasion happens, it kills his son and his father, and from then on out, nothing is the same for Earth. You have aliens, they have basically two different species that are fighting each other, and the humans are like cannon fodder. And this guy, Heath Houston, ends up becoming this alien mercenary. Now, when I say it was cheesy, you know, in the beginning, it's kind of like there was no stakes. Like, he could die and come back as a clone, or somebody could die and he could just travel back in time. It was always like an out. And they even kind of play with that in the beginning. One of his, like, catchphrases, one of his kind of tropes is, "I'll always catch my break." The thing about this book is the more that you read it, and the more that I read it, the more I started to fall in love with it. And towards the end, it was like a serious, emotional, like interstellar level type of book.
Murphy still grabs his car.
They have a very serious take on his alcoholism. He's addicted to whiskey, and at first it's kind of like a funny thing, but then towards the end of the book, it's not so funny. So they have a lot of realism that they play with. And even the aliens and the protagonist and everybody, it seems like it becomes a lot more real and a lot more is at stake once you get further on into the series. So I don't know if that was their intention or if it was kind of like just some fun kind of dumb thing that they did in the beginning, and as they kept on going, it ended up becoming this awesome read. This was an amazing book, guys. I think that this would have been a huge title had they had a different name, man, because Fear Agent, yeah, he does become a Fear Agent, and they're kind of like the resistance, the humans that fight back, but the Fear Agent aspect is such a small part of these 30 issues. It's not like daily check-ins. It's like you barely even hear anything about being a Fear Agent, and I'm not even sure what it means. Does he strike fear into the aliens? I don't even know what the term means after reading this. I feel like if this was titled something like Heath Houston in Outer Space or Heath Houston Alien Exterminator, maybe it would have gained more traction. I mean, I know it's a popular book, but I wouldn't call it like a household name type of book. This book is amazing. It's definitely up there. One of my top indie reads for sure. This is going to make the top 10 reads for 2020. I'm going to call it right now. We're going to take an overhead look. These formats are amazing. The pages are humongous, and Tony Moore's artwork, Jerome Opeña's artwork is awesome. You get Walking Dead vibes with the artwork. I think even the logo kind of has a Walking Dead vibe, like the same type of font. So let's go ahead and flip through now. We'll take a look at Fear Agent. Alright guys, here are the covers of Volume 1 and Volume 2. You know, as you read this book, you have so much more of an appreciation of the character and what he's going through. As you can see, the issues are broken down into story arcs and chapters. So you have Reignition, there's a couple of chapters, My War, The Last Goodbye, Hatchet Job, Eye Against Eye, and Out of Step. You can see the creative team, Rick Remender, Tony Moore, Jerome Opeña, and I guess Mike Hawthorne ends up joining in at the end. And what's cool is, I guess at the end of each issue, they had a short story that was written by another creative team, and it was non-canon. So what they did, they just added all those back to back at the ends of these. So I'll kind of show you what that looks like. These bad boys came out originally with a cover price of $49.99. Man, what a great value. These books are immaculate. Let's go ahead and start busting them open, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I think I might have heard somebody say something about the binding. As you can see, it has beautiful sewn binding, a very nice eye, a lot of give there so there's no gutter loss. The quality of these pages, I kept having to make sure that I was not having a clump of pages because the paper stock is so thick and there's so much art that you get on these pages. Let's go back to the beginning and just take a look at what we got going on. So that's Heath. That's with one of the girls that shows up a little bit later in the issues. I'm trying to remember her name. I want to say it's Mira. Fear Agent logo. Here we go. So you have your table of contents. You have a foreword. That's where I kind of read this. I think this was by, was it Rick Remender? Kind of talks about how this came to be. So he goes chapter 1. I love it. I mean, it feels like Doom Guy, right? It's like a Duke Nukem. It's like a first-person shooter. Immediately, you have outer space scenarios, crazy colors with the purples, the blues, the greens. You have these different alien races. And again, I feel like the first issue was a little bit goofy, but I'm telling you, you gotta power through if you're not into the goofiness because it gets real, and it gets really, really good. Alright, so not so much going on here. You already see some aliens, different species and races. Kill them all. He talks like a Texan, like he's a real red-blooded American. He smokes his cigars. He's on an all-whiskey diet. And basically he doesn't care. He rides around lonely in a ship by himself with his AI Annie, who really holds him down. This is his ship. And I'm sure we'll see a scene shortly where he's just alone in there. It's a vulgar book. It's raunchy. I would definitely say this is not for kids. It's an adult book for sure. It has a lot of adult themes. A lot of similarities to like Walking Dead with like coming back and your wife is with another guy and thought you were dead. And this whole kind of like eternal life by putting your brain and consciousness into a robotic body. Here goes some stuff on the moon. You know, Heath's responsible for genocide multiple times in multiple timelines. So it's kind of like it's out there, man. At first I felt like it was a little bit too much, but I'm telling you, once we got towards the end, I was in the feels. Yeah, so this is him in his ship. It's dirty. He's a sloppy guy, doesn't shower. Like I said, he's an alcoholic. Annie is like his AI, the only person that really cares about him. And this is his ship, and he's a mercenary. You know, he goes around for paying jobs. He's definitely a badass of a character. And I think right here we may have already gotten into the non-canon bonus stuff. Like you can see the artist change up. And it's just like 4 or 5 pages from different creative teams that you don't even really have to read them. And they both have sketch galleries at the end. Let's just really quick flip through Volume 2. Everything's pretty the same. I want to say Volume 2 is where the tone kind of changes and it's less goofy, less of, oh, this is a joke type of a book. I like this guy, like the Russian guy that was part of the Fear Agents. And you know, like I said, you don't really hear much about the Fear Agents at all in this whole book, man. Have some Clone Saga stuff going on there. But I love how these panels, they fill up the entire page on these books. They look really good. Little brain swap action. Another alien species, kind of the big brains. Kind of has Starship Troopers vibe a little bit. Alright guys, what did I tell you, man? The pages were awesome. Big, huge pages. So much color. So much going on. This is definitely a book that doesn't hold anything back. I recommend you read this in whatever format you're able to get your hands on it. I'm not really sure on the accessibility of these books, if they're out of print or not. But you might want to check, the local spots online to see if you can get them. Let me know what you think about the review in the comments below. What do you think about Fear Agent if you've already read it? Make sure you guys hit that subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. As always, I appreciate you watching. And if you enjoy it, click the playlist on the right. We have more recent reads. Stay minty fresh. Peace.